This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan, and you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm Steve Balsam, past president of the Greater Romeo, Washington Chamber of Commerce, now the rebranded Northern Macomb Regional Chamber. And with me here today, we have John Moore, city manager of the city of Richmond, and past president Jeff White of the dissolved Richmond Chamber of Commerce. Also to my left, the current president of the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber, Joe Warden. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
So today, I just wanted to start out a little bit of the history. What things was it like in the past in the business community in Richmond? Small business, industry, and nonprofits. Jeff and John, if you could walk us through that.
Yeah. So, Richmond has always had a very robust business district. Primarily up and down Main Street, running from 31 mile to the northernmost city limits, and the community and the businesses always have gotten along very, very well, working together to try to promote the community and promote each other. And that was pre-2018, I guess. And then COVID hit. And like most other, small communities, small businesses, and for our citizens, it really kind of was devastating to businesses that had to, work and find new ways to keep their doors open. The chamber certainly felt a bit of the brunt of that in the Richmond area, and got to a point that we felt like we couldn't even request dues from our businesses, because we simply felt like they were struggling just to remain open through what was a national disaster by all accounts. As we came out of COVID and at least the pandemic period, we tried to bring it all back together. Shortly before COVID, we had gained access to a building right at 32 Mile and Main Street. It was wonderful. We had a presence at the four corners that when you came into town, it said Richmond Chamber of Commerce. But again, through COVID, any ability to work out of that building kind of had gone away. As we came out of COVID, it took some time for businesses to get back looking like they wanted to re-engage. And when they did, two big questions came from businesses both new and old in the community. The what are you doing for us, and how can you help us promote? And after a number of discussions, further discussions, it was we needed to find a way to have some staff, as opposed to operating with all volunteers, which we had done in the past. And we needed to find a way for a bigger social media presence. Both of those come with dollars. And it became evident to most of us that still remained on the board at that point in time that our current dues structure was not a sustainable model to provide the businesses what they were looking for. And so we began to look out at options. And we as the chamber board began to reach out to some of the other regional type chamber organizations. And then we sat down with the city and said, we really need a group of very engaged business people to help us make this decision. We had an interesting chamber board, a lot of nonprofits, a lot of government agencies like the one I run made up the board, and we really felt like we needed our retailers and our local business people there. The city had their EDC board that throughout COVID had continued to meet regularly. Those businesses were involved and engaged and growing in the community. So we met with John Moore and city government, and they put together the idea of letting the EDC become involved in how we would move that forward and how we would select a chamber that the city would endorse in recommending for our community. And I think with that, I can toss it over to John for.
Yeah, walk us through, John, that approach to the new chamber idea.
Sure, and as Jeff mentioned, both myself as a representative of the city and Jeff as our EMS and transit provider had a long history of working together, both in those capacities, but also over the years through the chamber. And it became clear that there was a lot of, as we came out of the pandemic and the existing chamber kind of looked at how these services should be provided in the future, there was a lot of uncertainty amongst our business community, the organizations that were members of the chamber on how to move forward. And as Jeff said, he had approached myself, I think Mayor Ricks at the time, and we kind of had a discussion that, you know, maybe this was something better that our Economic Development Corporation, or EDC, should look at. That board is made up mainly of local business owners in the community. And so we formed a quote-unquote chamber committee, for lack of a better title. And there were members from the city council, also members from the EDC that met. We discussed kind of the issue, big picture. And then as a result of that meeting, had invited some of the interested chambers in the area who had expressed an interest in growing into the Richmond area over for interviews. And I think that's where you both became involved with us and met with, again, that kind of committee that included myself and the city planner that helps with economic development, and then members of those two boards, the EDC and council. We did an interview with process with two of the chambers. Both were well-run professional organizations, but it became clear as we met with them both that there was one that kind of was a more natural fit for Richmond. When we looked at it, as you may recall, coming over and meeting with us and outlining your new plans and your strategic visioning, it was just a very good fit for Richmond and Romeo, we felt. And there were a number of factors involved in that. Certainly the dues structure that you have, that's kind of a graduated dues structure based on the size of the business or type of business. The potential for staffing or physical location of some sort in Richmond, as well as just kind of that strategic plan that you had, and kind of the view that it appeared that you looked at us as a partner, not just as an area to expand into. And so based on that, really our committee had an easy decision in selecting at that time the Greater Washington Romeo Chamber, that's now rebranded, and part of that discussion on the rebranding was important to us. And so we chose to join this chamber, and certainly the city doesn't have the authority to tell a business owner which chamber they should join, but we felt we should be leading by example. We did a lot of discussions with our different boards and the media on why we made the decision we made to move forward with the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, yeah, a lot happened since February 2023.
Yes.
Okay. I'm here now with Kelly Stevens, Executive Director, President-elect Eric McClare, and our current President, Joe Warden, all with the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber. And what has been happening since the membership vote and the new Northern Macomb Regional Chamber in June this year has come into fruition relative to Richmond? Would you like to start?
Joe, you want to go?
Yeah, a lot of things. This summer's been really busy for the chamber, and we've been working hard to make our presence known in the Richmond area. We've been making visits directly to the businesses downtown. We've had a couple of meetings. One was with social media, and that was well attended by a lot of the small businesses there. We've also had a TNT meeting just recently, and that was well attended, and it's going to be carried forward with those businesses involved networking with each other. We were also there for the good old days. We just kind of got our foot wet on that one, but we learned a lot by being present, and the plan would be to do a lot more next year, and be a lot more involved and help with that whole event. So yeah, a lot of good things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll speak a little bit about the networking group. I actually attended last week, and they had 20 people that showed up. It was quite impressive because it takes a little bit of work to start these networking groups. It's just not you click your fingers and everyone shows up. I also noticed today on an email thread that 10 people signed up completely. So there's going to be an ongoing networking group in Richmond, and hopefully if it goes the way it is, we'll be able to open up another one. So just more than one networking group. The more people we get involved, and the more people they know about the networking group, you'll notice that a lot of them, more people start to join. So it's a really good thing.
So I've been fortunate in the office to have the board members out in the front end. The office has been exceptionally busy with this merger or change. You don't think of all the little things. We held the bylaw change meeting that made our name change. We filed articles of incorporation, our IRS, your hanging sign, every little thing. But the biggest thing that's come out is, you are right, we've had 10 members join, which I think is a great number for the short amount of time that this, in reality, went into effect in July 1st. Madison Roche has come on as a contracted admin, and so she's been one of our heavy presence out there and doing a great job. She led that workshop that Joe just talked about. We are looking to do that workshop here in this community too. But I see it as a great partnership for the whole North End. And this subject came up, and Steve, you'll remember this, probably 7-8 years ago, but we never intended to look like a takeover. So I think the timing in the strategic plan was a perfect to bring it all together.
Okay. Yeah. With that, Kelly, Eric, Joe, what should we expect in the future with this new relationship partner? What more things are coming with Richmond joining it?
Well, I can tell you, we've actually been putting out applications for board of director positions, and we've had a really good response so far to that, and we've got more coming as we're meeting other people. But we want to have that voice, and there's some awesome people that will join us through our process.
The office is, because this is so new and we've kind of had our established events that we've done on this side of town, we really need to bring in our Richmond people as a committee to help form events, especially on that side, so that we can all come together at each other's events. So that's been one of the office's jobs that we're looking at, is to get that Richmond committee formed soon so that we have their voice in what we're doing here too.
Yeah, another thing to go along with that, and I believe Jeff White had mentioned it, there was a building that was actually used by the Richmond Chamber, and that building is still available, and we're actually talking to the owner of that and seeing if it would work for us as far as the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber. So it would be nice to have that physical presence, and then also a person that we've talked about, a person in that area.
Yeah, perfect. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but since I'm a Romeo, I live here in the village, I haven't been to Richmond this many times in the last 10 years. I know the businesses now. I'm starting to recognize the faces, and I'm starting to recognize the different business owners. So for me, it's already been incredible because it's so close, but yet I haven't been there enough. So now I'm more engaged. I hope this is what's going to bring our communities together. So it's a great start.
Yeah, and on that vein, Richmond, Romeo, they were both on the Grand Trunk Railroad. Ooh. And they were both on the path. And so, maybe it's just bringing it all back together, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right. And lastly, John, Jeff, what is the buzz in the Richmond business community? How are businesses responding to this new engagement?
I'll take that. From what I've heard and discussed with people, it's been a very positive experience. I know in speaking with our board members that were involved in the process, it really has reinforced what we believed when we interviewed the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber of Commerce, and that this is more of a partnership. And everything that we've seen with all the people that are involved in the podcast today has really just proven what we thought we knew. And so, and then in speaking with the businesses, I've lived in Richmond 26 years, and so a lot of the business owners I know, and it's been a very positive response that I've gotten. Obviously, some have even started to join, but those that haven't, their interaction with the chamber, whether it's through the social media workshop that was open to all businesses in Richmond, they've just had a very positive experience. And so the word on the street is good.
Good. And John, you've been city mayor since 2005?
City manager since
City
2005, yes. And I've been in the community since 97.
Okay, great. And Jeff, any comments?
I think, you folks have really come about and sort of put your money where your mouth is, if you will, and I think that's appreciated by all. Whether it's you spending time in our community, Joe Warden has been to a number of our nonprofit groups. We've met with Rotary and we've met with Alliance, and you folks sponsored a team. I think you'd been involved in Richmond for about 2 weeks,
Right.
and you already helped support a team for our Lions golf outing, which helps us to provide scholarships in our community over and above what you've done. I will tell you, it's been. I'm looking at John because I can't remember the last time we had 20 people at anything that was chamber related, and you guys had a networking meeting. I understand recently. I was unavailable that day myself, but I understand that you had a networking meeting with 20 people there. That's probably double the number of people we've had in years at an event in Richmond with regard to the Chamber of Commerce. So I think you've really done a good job. Getting off on the right foot in our community. I think people are going to appreciate that. I think there is some mild skepticism, not towards your chamber at all, but towards the fact that in the past they hadn't been able to have these things happen, because we were trying to operate as an all-volunteer operation. And while everybody appreciates that we all still need to volunteer to some degree to help make a chamber successful, you folks really have the administrative ability, I think, to say, yes, we need you to volunteer on occasion, but we'll do the heavy lifting here. And as people start to realize that, I think it's just going to continue to be a great relationship for our community and the new North Macomb Chamber.
And I'll just add on, sorry to interrupt, but to what Jeff mentioned, as we went through that process, we did discuss the need to kind of rebuild that connection between the chamber and the business community, and everyone knew that work needed to be done. And I was one of the 20 people that were at that networking group, and when I drove into the parking lot, I was running a little late and saw the number of cars. I was just amazed. I was like, is there another meeting going on somewhere else? And to walk in and have 20 people there, it was just a really good feeling.
Great.
And I'll add on to that, our admin, Debbie, she's our liaison for the networking groups. She did a great job because, it's industry allowed in there. So all those people there that wanted to get in, she told them they had to join that day. I'll tell you, 7 of them joined that day. So that was awesome. But I think...
Any final thoughts, Kelly?
Yes. I think this model that we've presented in partnerships with the city of Richmond and Lenox Township is a great opportunity for our other northern communities that are struggling with their business communities, that maybe they can see they can come under our umbrella too for the future. The Chamber's going to roll out the Member of the Month program, which we have had on hiatus probably for the last 6 years. The Member of the Month program highlights a business member that is dedicated and supportive of the Chamber's missions and what we do. We will be taking nominations in the office. The recipients will receive a ROCO ad on the Mitt TV's televisions that are playing around town. So it's a huge, your business will be highlighted in all these restaurants and businesses that the ROCO station's in. So send us your nominations. And next up, we'd like to highlight what's coming up. We have our State of the Community Luncheon on October the 10th with the keynote speaker of Jocelyn Benson, and all of our community's leaders will be speaking on their separate communities. On October 13th, we have our 8th annual Art and Wine Walk in downtown Romeo. Richmond really wants me to put one on over there, too. I said, maybe for next year we'll think of that one. And then on October 26th, we're going to do a nonprofit roundtable. I ran into Advancing Macomb at the Partners Luncheon thing we were at, and she will lead this for us, but it's just getting all of our nonprofits in the northern end in one room together and see what everybody's doing and how possibly we can partner.
Thanks again to all that participated today from Richmond and the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber in this live discussion. We hope all enjoyed, and we look forward to continuing our chamber mission. Everyone,
to promote, educate, and assist in the growth and success of the business community. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan, and you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.